Hello, everyone. Welcome to a one little word video. Ready for a walkthrough of everything except January. I have a video that introduces you to my word and how I started my album for 2020. But it's been a while since I've been on here, and I'm all caught up, so that feels really great. And June, of course, is the midpoint, and so it seemed like a good time to kind of show you what I've been doing with my word reflect. And so I started in January with the definition, the quotation, the reflections on the word. And I love how most of us who do this like return to this kind of writing and thinking and checking in June. And since my word is reflect, it's the month to reflect. So anyway, just a little reminder of what my January looked like. And then I started this, or I actually concluded the January section with "This is my year," which is a little poster insert that came from Soul Mantras, Liz Lamoureux's shop. And one thing she does is she makes these little tokens. She makes jewelry and everything else too related to the One Little Word project. And so I have been collecting these from the last few years of doing this. And so 2 years ago, my word was clear. Last year it was choose. This year it's reflect. And so it's kind of nice to have this little cluster of hearts, which I keep out to glance down at often and remind myself of what my word is and what it has been. So she included this with the order, and I got the one that says, "This is my year to hope," which is perfect, really perfect for this crazy year. This year where we've so much needed hope. We've been surrounded by lots of grief and strife and struggle and confusion. It's been a really amazing year for a word like reflect. And so I'm glad I included this. What I did for February for my vision board was really different from what I've done in other years. I've been very drawn to nature. I don't know if part of it is living in the midst of the pandemic and just taking so much like comfort and hope from being out in nature, which is obviously something we can still do. And so here is the insert that I made with just photographs I took. Now, admittedly, this was winter. This was February. So this is what this looks like. I was still, despite the fact that it was February, like right now, I could do another one of these and be very like colorful and full of flowers. But we just have kind of images of leaves that I pick up on my walks and pine cones. And this pine cone looks like it has snow on it, but it doesn't. It's just the look of it, the way it really is. This bark with all the texture and detail made me really happy to make this. So I just put "Life is Lovely" on one of the tabs and "Treasured" on the other to indicate that my vision board was like a practice, came from a practice of reflection and being out in nature. So that's what I did this year. Okay, so that's sort of a fold out, which I kind of like. And then I have a little note to self tucked in with some of my reflections for the month of February. Just put it on the back of a card that coordinated a little bit with what I do next. The other thing I did in February was a project that I think many people who follow Allie Edwards and her various challenges did. It was the one called Pieces of Life, where we took photographs over the course of a week, followed prompts. And so I used some of the digital elements from an earlier story kit of hers called Pieces and made this, and just used the digital stamps to repeat pieces of my heart, pieces of life right now. It's interesting to look at my hair looking good because it hasn't looked good in a long time now. Anyway, so I won't dwell on this, but I put the dates of the week that we did this, and I included underneath the photos more reflection on this time in my life in February. Okay, ended that again with a digital card. I made it 6x8 and included the month and a little more stamping and some again nature related elements. These transparent hearts. Okay, so March. March was when everything kind of got crazy in the U.S. and we had our stay-at-home orders. So, but my challenge, what we did for March was set a daily challenge. And considering all that was going on, I feel like I did okay. You can see when everything crashed and burned. It was like right around this time. And I actually did get sick. I didn't have the coronavirus, so I was very grateful. But part of this was like coping with some illness in the middle part of the month, and the shift. I'm a professor, so the shift of all our courses online. It was very chaotic. So I did one more little practice. What my practice was, it involved watercolor and nature. So kind of reflecting my love of nature and the little paintings I did, the little ways of kind of practicing with watercolor in relation to nature journaling and nature art. The back of this, I have reflections on the challenge and what happened, and another little piece of my own art, Be Strong, that is from an art journal page I made. Okay, so that wraps up March, because March was the month of the challenge. And then April for me is really simple. As you can see, as I go through, like I have this way of doing the tabs this year, which is just the number. And then when I complete that part of my album, I'm stapling on a little sequin. So that's just been kind of a satisfying thing to do. Okay, so in April, these are all reflections based on prompts. So I've got my 4 cards with the different prompts, and used the April month label there. I'm not a super consistent person, so I use these sometimes, and other times I use other ways to mark the month, or I just rely on the little tab. So that's April. May is fun because May is all our word through the lens of our cameras. So this is the way it started for me. I've been really drawn to craft, so I did kind of a craft intro page. Used a quote card and kind of decorated this with some cork too, which you might not be able to the camera might be picking it up, but it's like cork on craft. And then, this is where I reflect on what it was like taking these photos during the month of May. And I'm doing the 100-day project, so I have a couple of my photos relate to that. And of course, spring is really taking off in Michigan. I love May. It's my favorite month. There's my favorite dog. So I use little cameras, but again, not quite as consistently throughout. I just sprinkle them here and there. And I did like these phrase cards that came in one of the kits, and so I stapled those on each photo, and some of them also got one of these yellow word phrase stickers, but not all. And then this is the second page of my photos. Yoga's been really important to me through this particular time, and I feel like I've been growing in certain ways through that practice, so I wanted to include that. Again, the beauty of nature. This is like right in my neighborhood, and so is this beautiful tree. And again, here I use, to mark May, I use the transparent card. Okay, so that takes us up to June, and got my little 6 done and stapled it in there. And here I check in with the word and reflect based on a series of prompts. I used just a few little chipboard pieces to embellish, seeing my word working, progress, not perfection. We talk in some ways about what the challenges are as we try to stay tuned to our word or see what it brings up for us. And then, this last page, I did a little bit of a kind of collage corner, making progress little by little, moment by moment, choice by choice. And usually at the end of the month, I think about a photo and print it in a large size and put it here on the back. That's what I've done in other albums. Probably will do that this month too. We'll just see what happens. So anyway, that brings you up to date, gives you maybe some ideas of things you might do or do differently, but I think it's always cool to take a peek inside each other's albums. So wanted to share with you. Thanks a lot. See you later.